Well, you might want to keep it zipped there, Jeff. When we're talking about that stuff, we can do it when we're not live, but when we're live like we are right now, we got to be. We got to be. Anyway, guys, what is going on out there today? Hey, it's Brent Abel here, WebTennis.com. Another episode of What's the Right Shot, number 413. Let's do this, Jeff.
Morning, Mark.
Here, that's great, Major Dan. Before we get started today, Jeff, I'm curious. You played some pro ball.
I did.
You played some pro ball, played at a nice level. What was there one realization that you came to at some point, or you said, you know what, I think this is maybe the max in terms of a pro level that I'll get to, and decided to do something else? Or was it an injury? Was it,
No, mine was more financially driven, being able to sustain it and do it long enough.
So you need more of a bankroll to keep you going for a year or two.
Yeah, long enough so you get the rhythm of it. So you get used to travel and being on a plane for 12 hours and then getting off the plane and getting one night's sleep kind of, and then waking up and, either playing qualies or first round or something. And like somehow you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit of doing, and then every time you move up, every time you kind of get a breakthrough, it's really just another level of belief that you think you belong there, that you belong there, and that. So but for me,
mom and dad either didn't have the wherewithal or just said, hey son, hey kid, you're on your own.
Yeah, I mean, it was just that mix of stuff, and so
there it is.
And I'm one of, at this point, you can say millions of players.
Yeah.
That
it's amazing. It's just amazing to me to see that if you have the financial wherewithal, first of all, and you got some talent and you got some drive and you got some motivation and you got some, I'll just get the living crap beat out of me for a few years here, but I'm going to figure this thing out. And if you have that financial backing underneath you, you have a chance. And what does a chance mean? I mean, where are players actually making money on the tour? I can't believe that if you're 75 or lower meaning you're not any higher in the rankings than 75, man, you're probably not making money. Maybe you're breaking even in the top 100, 75 to 100, but other than that, it's rough.
Yeah, because it's a double-edged sword. You're searching for points because points translate to ranking, which translates to getting straight into an event.
Right.
Which means you're going to get a little bit of money first round, and if you can move that ranking up, high enough to be able to get straight into a major. U.S. Open this last year was 80,000 first round loss.
Don't know.
Somewhere in there, right? Yeah. It's pretty substantial.
80,000 will pay for what? If traveling, maybe. But if you got a coach, I mean.
And that depends. And there are guys, there's coach. And some guys will pool. Three guys will pool who are close in the rankings.
Right.
So they all know they're going to go to the same events and pool and pay for a coach. The three of them will pay for a coach.
Right.
And so it's a catch-22. You need to travel and matches to play to get points, but you need points to get in the tournament. It's a really and it's tougher and tougher now. Like I was on the cusp of being able to, look at the schedule, the global schedule, and go, hey, you know what? It looks like there might be a coup happening in. In some foreign country, it looks like it's not going to happen for 4 weeks. And look, there's a small event going on, a $50,000 event let's go. And you go and you fly in, and hopefully you play a local, first round or second round in some nowhere place, and you scrape up, a handful of points, and then you get on the plane and you get out.
Yeah.
And so that was like a little bit of the plan, depending on when you were, playing. And so I was probably at the tail end of being able to do that, just because the popularity of the sport, the number of players that were vying now for a limited number of spots that, to get points. And it's so, it's
tough. Well, I think the other thing,
as Norm from Cheers said, it's a dog eat dog world, and I'm wearing milk bone underwear.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is tough. I mean, you think about that, especially with guys who don't have any money and they're just scraping by, and they're sleeping on, they're sharing rooms, they're sleeping on floors somewhere. They're
buying.
God knows what they're doing.
They're buying sleeper vans, cheap, and traveling around the U.S. during the summer, playing the small events. They have their own stringer in the back, a little portable stringer. They're stringing their own rackets. I mean, it's
brutal.
There's a lot easier ways to make a living, I can tell you that. And it's different too. Like for me, I was not a child star. I didn't have a great junior career. I didn't really click until junior college, and so, everybody sparks a little differently. So it's different when you've got let's say a Ben Shelton. He was, raised in it.
Yeah.
And then obviously his physical presence, his
stature. He's got a little bit of talent in that fifth.
Yeah. And so, and then, playing Division I ball and playing that at the highest level and all that. And then just, having that, I'd say he's got the right team around him, along the pathway. So but there's no predicting that. There's no
Giovanni. Giovanni, good morning. Good morning, Rich. Good morning, Mark. There should be a way for more than 100 players to make a living in the tour. It would be better tennis overall.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
without
maybe.
A doubt.
Yeah, maybe, or you got to work so hard to get into the top 100 that that the tennis is even better. I don't know.
It's silly that, I mean, there are players like, let's say down in South America that never leave South America.
Yeah.
Because there's enough tournaments, small events, and they can just stay home, play on the dirt, make a decent living,
right?
Call it good.
Yeah.
And so here it's silly that there aren't enough small events and again, being a little biased, right? Saying for American players to be able to play a whole summer just in the US and have it be, scheduled. So in the summer, this is just me just blabbing here. I think there ought to be a minimum of 6 events in California in the summer for pros, $25,000 events or $50,000 challenger events in that level. There ought to be 6 of them. Let the guys who live here and who live in the US stay home and play.
Well, especially I think for college players as well. I mean,
exactly.
If you've got in the summer, you got, let's call it 3 months, June, July, August, there's 12 weeks right there. Ought to be at least 6 events. But maybe half of them are in the West Coast or 4 of them on the West Coast, 4 in the Midwest, 4 in the East Coast. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be on different services.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like a 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go. You start in Florida, end up in California, start in California, end up in Florida. Who cares?
Yeah.
But it's silly that's not,
Well, in the meantime, let's talk about reality. In fact, why don't we dip down just a level or 2 from what we're talking about, and let's talk about some journeyman, quote unquote, Jeff Jackless journeyman ball.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're talking about with age group tennis. We're talking about, can you manage the mediocre? Can you, Brad Gilbert's deal with winning ugly. I mean, if you read the book, the strategies in there are real. It's winning ugly. Okay. I'm not going to say that's a hypey title, but depending on depending on your perception of what managing the mediocre really means. And it
Yeah,
means, mediocre, I guess by definition means the average. So
yeah,
can you manage the average and not think to yourself, well, the way to win is I got to win beautiful. I got to
yeah,
win whatever because
yeah.
um
I don't want that guy to touch the ball
yeah, yeah.
because that's
So
pretty.
so I just think we got to, Jeff, continue to drive the point home that managing the mediocre, playing journeyman ball is what wins matches. And again, you can go look at Jimmy Parker and you talk about journeyman tennis. This guy is not your model for, oh, well, God, he looks like Rafa. No, he
No.
doesn't. No, he doesn't. I mean, so yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, here we go. Let's just see
yeah.
what we got here, Jeff, just to make sure. So this is the semis last year of the clay courts in Virginia Beach, Virginia. One of my toughest matches of the year, maybe even the toughest match of the year. Um, but what I want to kind of look at today is a couple things. Number one, we're going to look at trying to redefine the quote unquote kick serve, what it
Hmm.
really is, and then let's look at the journeyman dropper, and then let's look at the journeyman disguise, and then we'll look at the journeyman pass, which is nothing spectacular. It's all just kind of like ho hum. What's the
Yeah.
big deal? So let's look at the serve first, and I want to talk about the kicker in terms of let's rethink it in terms of what are we really trying to accomplish? Are we really trying to get it to where we can hit a serve that the returner has no idea where it's going? No, we're trying to hit a serve that actually gets up on the guy. So when he makes
Yeah.
contact, he's here.
Right.
He's here. And so, and I think the other, I think the strategy of it is let's technique wise still keep the toss out in front a little bit so that you naturally come into the court and boom, you're right
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Now that you've got this thing head high, what are the chances you're going to get an offensive opportunity?
Pretty
Pretty
low.
good. Pretty darn
Well,
good.
well, it's low that they're going to be offensive. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna get something to look at.
right. They're not going to have the offensive opportunity.
Right.
Right. Thank you for clarifying that. So,
Yeah.
and can an offensive opportunity, Jeff, be the possibility of, all right, could you approach? Could you approach? Yeah, you could approach all day long on this thing, right? But
Yep.
an offensive opportunity might be a dropper. And
Yep.
here's your favorite drop shot right here. Oh, the guy can get to it.
Yep.
Now, let's go ahead and kind of hold him for a second. In his mind, I mean, in your mind, if you're about to do this forehand, you know that he's thinking, well, I got to cover some of the court. I can't just stand here and just cover the line. You know that, right? So you can
Absolutely.
hold the guy and journeyman, just come around the outside corner, get it over there.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, this is so
No.
unfancy. This is so mediocre. This is so average. This is so, all of these shots are just straight out of the Jacklich journeyman
It's
playbook.
just a physical chess game, and it doesn't need to be complicated. Can I maneuver the player across the net into positions that he might be a little uncomfortable in? Starting with the serve there. All it is about is creating some pain or discomfort, however you want to describe it, across the net. And then how well do they handle that? Right. And so that's what this comes down to is just, there it is. He gave you the duck in the middle of the court and you went, you know what, let's just play it short, make him come forward. The clay adds a little flavor to it in that sprint forward because there's a little slipperiness on the feet. So he's got to control his balance here. And then there's that moment too on clay where you're kind of frozen until your feet settle, and then you can move. So you end up with this little fraction of, there he goes, little slide. He takes a little bit to push back and get in control of himself, and now it's too late because the ball's on your strings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all those things add up to, it's ho hum,
And look, I mean, in your definition of the perfect drop shot, which is, it's not a winner.
No.
You actually let him get to it. You actually have it wide open for the pass. You play it over there. And now he's burned a little bit of fuel out of the tank.
Yeah.
Which there's no gas station. We're not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to refuel. So I want to go back, Jeff, and talk a little bit about the serve.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you guys to be thinking about your quote unquote topspin kick serve as nothing more than you're just trying to get the thing to have some bounce, right? So a lot of the bounce comes from the initial trajectory, which is up. So it's up off the racket. And look, the height, obviously, number one, it eliminates double faults. But because you've got the toss in a spot where you can actually generate some natural swing speed, which to me is out in front. And look, how do we change the trajectory with the toss out in front from more of a first serve, which would be less trajectory, to more of a second serve with the toss still in front? Well, for me, Jeff, I just stay sideways longer at contact.
Yeah.
And that's it. And now you get a nasty bounce to where the guy can't really move in and take it on the rise. He can,
right.
but now the risk factor for your opponent goes up.
Right.
And if you end up inside the court, look, could the guy play a return to serve right here to your feet? They could. Could you go ahead and step forward and play a volley deep over there? You could. And maybe it's an unintentionally such a great deep volley that you decide, I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just want you to be thinking about this, guys, that, look, try this today when you get out there. Is think about a toss that is maybe not as much, just a hair further back than your first serve toss, but enough in front so that when you go up, that you land with your momentum coming forward. I see too many players, and they're right here. The toss goes up. It's behind their head, right? And when they come down, there's no forward momentum. They just
right.
land either on top of the baseline or behind it. And look, you just lose natural swing speed by doing that.
Yeah.
If you're a young buck, all right, fine. But we're not. We're not. So look, get the thing up, and now here's the contact point. The chances of them giving you an offensive opportunity go way, way up.
Yeah.
Your 2 cents, Jeffrey.
I think, I tend to, again, ball is still, in front of me. But, I tend to toss the ball a little heavier left to create that angle of attack, because I can still hit not just the topspin serve, but I can actually still hit a kicker. So which means the ball moves on a right to left, because I'm right-handed, a right to left draw. It bounces and it goes back out again for another right to left draw, as opposed to staying like a swing serve where it stays on the arc, bounces and stays on the initial arc that it's on. So I tend to push that ball a little bit left, and I don't care that he sees that I'm going to hit it. He's still got to handle it. He's still got to do something with it. Yeah. And it's a great serve to have, especially in dubs, because you're dealing with the lanes. And if I can get that ball inside on him with the kick, body serve with the kick, it's really great to get him tied up with it. But You know, you need, in order to hit that, even the topspin serve, the ball has to be slightly left because you need the angle of attack.
Yeah.
You know,
Swing
you
path.
need that. Swing
Right.
path has to come from more of a draw right up the back of your head than over your right shoulder, right? So let's see where your racket comes from here. Right up the back of your head.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful, right? And so,
And it's different for me too on the ad side. The ad side, it moves into the alley after the bounce. Really, really gets him off the court.
Yeah,
Hey, Keith.
yeah, exactly.
Keith, there's the great Keith Abel. Haven't seen Keith for a while.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, man. No relation, by the way. No relation. Which is maybe good for him. By the way, guys, if you're on my email list, you know that I've pumped out this laminated card. On one side, it's got the 4 parts between points routine reminders. Stick it in the bench. Pull it out of your bag, stick it in the bench so that when you're changing sides, you've got a reminder that if you've forgotten to do your BPR, well, now you've got it. The other side is the 7 topspin kick serve cues that I like because you can pull this out of the bag and you can cherry pick one of them today as a practice thing or as a reminder. If you're on the email list, I've got a link there where you can pick up one of the cards. I've only got I ordered 100. I'm put it out yesterday, last night. I've only got 100. So we're whittling that number down pretty quickly. If you want one, get on the email list. If you're not, just go over to WebTennis.com and you'll get on the, drop in a first name, email address, and you'll get on my email list. Jeffrey, that's it, man. Look, guys, if you love today's video, today's episode of What's the Right Shot, please go ahead and like the video and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. When I looked this morning, Jeff, we were 4 away from 16,000, which, you know, that's always kind of a nice to get to a new number. Anyway, I'll figure out who's number 16,000 and we'll do something special for you.
Yeah.
Make sure you click the notification bell as well so that you're always notified or alerted anytime I go live and or upload new content. Guys, hope this has been helpful.
Keith plays with Len Warford.
Len Wofford. Well, it's Wofford.
Wofford, yeah.
Yeah, there's no R. Yeah, no, he's a great model. Lenny Wofford, half of arguably the number 1 doubles team in his age group with Paul Wolf year in and year out. I mean, they won the Slam last year. They won the Worlds last year. I don't know, maybe there's an interplanetary event. I'm sure
the Galactic Seniors.
They would win that one as well. Anyway, Keith, say hi to Len next time you see him. Guys, that's it. Again, hope this has been helpful. If so, please like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Any comments, any more comments, just leave them down below. I can get to them once we're done with the live stream this morning. And or if you want to keep the message private, you can do so. Just shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. Jeff is right there as well at jeff@jacklets365.com if you want to reach out to Jeff. All right, guys, that's it for me. Time for all of us to get out there. Help someone else have a great day. Guys, see you again next time.